I think so. Now, a couple of queries that we've received during the week. This, of course, is the original painting.
That's right.
One out of your imagination,
yes,
in fact.
Lots of fun with that.
Generally speaking, when you start a painting, you actually block in the shape.
I do. I put in the memory lines. But actually, I got a bit carried away last week, I think, and suddenly discovered that the whole painting was a blend of colour, and the only rigid lines in it were the 5-bar gate. And that just gets tucked in afterwards.
Okay.
So we're just all blending colour on the canvas.
So you're concentrating still on the background.
Yes.
Because even though it's a snow scene, there's a lot more colours than just white.
Oh, there is. Actually very little white, because it all picks up the colours around it.
And a very definite turquoise there.
Yes, that's a very pretty colour. Very expensive colour to buy in the tube. But there is a way of making it. And if I just show you now. Now, if you take, I've mixed some of it here, just take a little white, take it aside, take a little bit of that earth green, the terry vert, add it to one side there, go to the other side of your brush, take a little bit, and very little, because it's such a strong, tested, that Prussian blue. Now, blend the two together. And it comes up a very delicate, and it takes a little bit of experimenting, but it's a very, very soft, pale turquoisey green. Because if you buy it, and that is that one, it's £12 tube.
Oh.
So make it. But it's a beautiful colour if you're treating yourself.
Prussian blue and white.
That's it. That's it. And there's just little touches of it here now in the painting, in the background. I've been adding a little. See how it's coming up now, all right. And there's touches over this side, so we'll put it in as well here. Now, I'm going to go back while I still have this colour on the brush and take up a little of the cobalt violet to get that sort of shadowy effect. And I would add it to the turquoise. And it tones it down a lot. And that area of the landscape, this takes a little bit of working out. Okay? Now, you see back here, on the snow, on the field itself, little touches of colour, so that it's not too flat looking. And there's a little bit of shadow into it. And we're going now to take that skinny brush that we talked about last week to put in a couple of more trees in the background. Now, this is one you have to... Oh, where I've lost it, Thelma. What have I done with it?
I saw it there.
There it is.
Ah.
Yeah, just shows you. Get more organised. Okay, lots of paint on this. Okay, and I'm taking the brown, quite strong, and the purple. That tones it down. What is that coming up down that colour? Quite a sort of beigey, purpley beige colour. Now just flick a couple of those trees that are here in over. Quite gently. Don't let them get too heavy because they're distant. And a couple of little lines. They don't have to be anything. Maybe tuck that shadow in there. Now we're going to go into a bigger brush and bigger strokes on this side of the canvas. So I'm going back to my same kind of mixture, taking a little oil and terps, not too much. Again, test how much you've got. I'm taking the cobalt violet, terry vert. This is a paint from last week. See, it's a little bit tackier than last week, but it's still perfect for use. A little bit of sap green. We get the colour. A little bit of, there's kind of a mix of a lot of things here now. And finishing off with a little bit of Prussian blue. Okay. Now, nice broad strokes here. This is where you suddenly start filling in. And you tuck a little bit of white into that now in a while. Getting a little higher than the original, but that's easily worked out afterwards.
There are not too many definite shapes about the leaves of the trees because they're so heavily covered in snow.
Just think area of trees rather than to go for an area of trees, because you get lost in that. Now, I haven't got quite the colour right, but we're going to fix that by tucking in a little bit of sap green and Van Dyke brown. On the same, you notice I'm not cleaning my brush. I want the colours to be a little bit muddy, because they go hazy from snow.
Well, you said it was a blend of colours.
Blend. Oh, it is the best of fun. And I always make the point, no two paintings are going to be the same. And I think that's really what counts, is that you're getting nice textures. I'm twisting and turning. I'm not doing roundy action. Just filling in, covering up that canvas, and letting your colours merge together. Now, can we go back to the original there for a sec? See this strong area of shadow? I'm going to put that in now in cobalt violet and Prussian blue. Still uncleaned brush. It's very economical on the paper towels when you get to this part now, because you're not using them. Now that Prussian blue is very strong. That's the one you have to be careful with. A little bit of white. I need a bit of green. Now we're getting somewhere. Another little bit of cobalt violet. This is the beauty of oils. You have so much fun blending colours and seeing what happens. Now the stroke has become straight. I'm still using this one brush all the time. Just fill in areas there I still have to deepen that down. This is when you're just doing things and seeing how they happen.
It's quite extraordinary
Isn't
to
it?
see
the blend
these
of colours.
blues
Yeah.
used together.
That,
violet.
cobalt violet, take some more of that there.
But you'd never think that the bark of trees.
Yes, I'm
But
just
actually-
introducing an area of shadow. And again, my thing with oils is you correct and you can go along. Now we're going to bring a little bit of darkness over there. Now I'm going to take the biggest brush of all. I think that's too high in colour, wouldn't you? Yeah, that's too high.
It's a little higher than the
Yeah.
than the original painting.
Now let's tuck in, soften it down there a little bit.
I can
Okay?
see how that violet actually is
Oh,
a
it's
very useful colour.
fabulous colour. Yeah, really good. Now, if we come over here and do the same sort of blocking in, that it's just while the colour's on the brush, there's no reason or make all your filling in areas. And I need more paint on that. I'm going back to the purpley colour.
You're still actually working with quite a small brush.
Yes, yes. This is what do I check it? 8. It's a slightly softer brush than we usually have. But actually, if for those who want to, can do this with their finger as well. There's some, going back to the original, see the green is peeping through where snow hasn't landed. Again, imagination, as I've had great fun with that. I think it's the best of fun. So on clean brush, because you get this blend of colours which all relate to the last time you used it, because some of it is left. And I find that quite good. Now, let's see, I'm trying to get to use that little skinny brush again. Colours aren't quite dark, but I think I quite like them actually. Let me see. We're working wet into wet here, which is nice. Now, see these long pieces here, and the bark of the trees without any snow on them. So I'm going to take some the dark browns, the Van Dyke brown, and the Prussian blue. We just test the colour there. Another little bit of brown. That's better. And we'll get in those lines of the trees that are slightly larger.
And they won't run on the wet paint
No.
because you haven't
No.
actually mixed any
That's right.
medium.
That's right. You need very little. That linseed oil lasts you a long, long time. Now, and when we come down here, we're going to be putting it really, see that line of the hedge across there is going to be really dark and strong. And have we time to put in a few little flicks there?
Oh,
do you
I think so.
Gosh, why not? Why not?
Actually, somebody wrote in during the week about the stretched canvas, saying
Yes.
that they feel that the cheaper board would be just as successful, and I think it would.
It could, oh yes, there's no problem with it, but I kind of spoil myself a little bit because I just love the canvas. Now, working into wet, this is the best way to work with these. And quick flicks up the canvas like that, and let it dot. And you can have sort of a bramble effect coming over that. But you do need to load the brush quite heavily and a little bit oily. This is where I'm going to take a little bit of oil and put in there. I'm a bit doubtful about my colour. Oh, not too bad, not too bad. No.
It's very effective.
Isn't it? And the blot that comes at the end of the brush kind of, you know, get away with murder. What is it exactly? We don't really know. But
Yeah, I'm trying to work
yeah.
on it. Maybe a few dead holes
exactly.
left on a
I
tree or
think you see
something.
that around the place.
You do.
Now, when we put the gateposts, they'll be going about there. And the hedge will get nice and heavy, and we'll fill in there. How's the time going? Because I don't know whether to start that or not.
We're just about coming towards the end of our time.
All right. Well, I'll take a big brush and be brushing it in.
Well, just at this point, actually, Harry, I'm just going to remind our viewers about the closing
Oh,
date,
good.
which is fast approaching, of our National Amateur Art Competition. Now,
Yep.
I believe Usheen Art Gallery have received, thousands of requests for entries and rules. So now what they're looking for is the paintings to be sent into them. As I say, the closing date is the 1st of February. Don't forget that those paintings can be of any subject and any medium, and the only stipulation is that the maximum size is 12 by 16. But don't forget those paintings are not to be sent in framed. And if you want your paintings returned by the gallery, you've got to enclose not a stamped addressed envelope, but a money order
yeah,
for
or a cheque.
£3.
Anything, postal order for £3.50.
Okay, for £3.50, and of course they'd be delighted to send back those paintings to you. But there are many, many prize winners, and part of the prize, of course, will be the framing of your works of art. And don't worry if you're not too happy with your finished product. I'm sure it's only an amateur art competition after all, and we'd be delighted to see any effort that you make. This is the address to send the paintings to. It's Amateur Art Competition, Usheen Art Gallery, 44 Westland Row, Dublin too. And Harry, we look forward to seeing you next week when you'll be
Right.
concentrating on the foreground.
Great.
Okay, now it's time for music. Over to Derek.
Well, our next musical guests have been with us many times in Live at 3, but we make no apology for that because they're terrific. They first got together in 1987. Since then, they've been to the Soviet Union many, many times. Would you believe that over the Christmas period, they actually made 3 trips there, the last one to Leningrad. They appeared in a 24-hour telethon at the Kirov Theatre, along with, such supporting acts as Pavarotti, Yehudi Menuhin, and many, many others. They're the first pop group ever to appear on the stage of the Kirov Theatre. $200 million, they reckon, was raised towards the rebuilding and restoration of Leningrad city, which was being destroyed environmentally. As a result of that appearance, they've been offered a recording contract in the Soviet Union. Today they've come in to perform Lady from their current album. Will you welcome, please, Allies?
I can still remember how it used to be. You were only 17, I was 23. You were always laughing